MJ Movie Reviews back again with another happy Halloween horror movie review of and this is, I guess, this is another Valentine's Day themed horror picture, and I'm going very old school. My Bloody Valentine from 1981, distributed by Paramount Pictures of the original 8 Friday the 13th movies. This film was remade in 2000, I think it was 8 or maybe 9. 2008 or 9, this was remade. Well, I'll get into the remake in a little bit. Either way, this movie, My Bloody Valentine. Okay, of course, I've seen all the traditional popular 80s slasher movies that I always mention. And I've seen the obscure ones, Final Exam, Terror Train, Prom Night, what was the one? Hell Night with Linda Blair. I think Spring Break Weekend, was one. Return to Horror High. A Cheerleader Camp and all those kinds. I've seen those obscure ones too. Slumber Party Massacre. But My Bloody Valentine, I had actually never even heard of. And I did not see the 1981 version way before the remake even came out. I actually, my parents had cable. I believe this was around maybe 1990, maybe 3 or 94. So I was about 11 or 12 years old. It was like one of them nights I was asleep in the rec room and I woke up in the middle of the night. I think it was like 2 in the morning. And Cinemax was still playing because that was how I used to fall asleep. It used to drive my dad nuts. I would always fall asleep with the TV on, running up the power bill. And I had literally woke up and got something to drink out the refrigerator, and it opened up on the scene, that totally pointless opening murder scene where the miner is for some reason about to get his freak on with some chick in a mine, which logically that makes no sense at all if anybody knows anything about mines. But anyway, he's got the outfit on, she doesn't, which makes even less sense. And he sees a heart on her breast assist, which drives him nuts, and he properly takes this mid-30-something looking blonde woman and impales her on the pickaxe, which is what you always want to do right before you get your freak on in a mine. But this is a 1981 holiday-themed slasher movie. So anyway, naturally I was 12, so I was intrigued, and I kept watching this film. And you know what? I liked it. I liked it in that USA Up All Night, late night cable kind of way. Throughout the years, I had only seen it maybe once or twice. As a matter of fact, the video stores that I used to go to, this wasn't even really available for rental at video stores back then. I might have saw it like once, and this wasn't even the original. You guys had seen the original cover. It doesn't look like this. But they don't have the original cover. But either way, I might have seen it like later on when I got older, maybe 15, 16, around the times when video stores were kind of almost a couple years before they went out. I had seen it available for rent. But either way, I when I heard they were making the remake, they were selling this at Walmart. I watched it, rewatched it again, and you know something? This is, I would say that this is an above average. Now, keep in mind, these are my standards for the genre, being an early 80s holiday-themed slasher movie. This is much better. This is the better one of the knockoffs, the holiday-themed knockoffs. Let me start with the good. Number one, we got a pretty high body count. That you always want that in these kind of movies. The body count is good. The kills are mostly pretty creative. Of course, there's more pickaxe kills, but there is one where a woman is stuffed in a laundry. A guy is his face is dunked into, this one's really gross. His face is dunked into boiling hot water while hot dogs are in there. That is just nasty. There's another one where a girl's head is impaled on a shower head. That's actually a pretty freaky looking one, where she's like impaled and her feet are dangling. That one is pretty creepy. Another person gets it with a nail gun. 2 people get the Friday the 13th Part 2 shish kebab death with some sort of mining implement. You get some pretty good kills here. Also, another thing too is I like how this movie pretty much stuck to the tropes of the 80s slasher movies. You set up some ridiculous backstory for this crazed killer in a mask. You give a reason, a holiday for which he's going to come back and go on his rampage, and this is the reason why. You reveal the killer at the end of the movie to who he is or who you think the killer is, whatever. You give some stupid BS reason, in the words of Randy from Scream, and movie wraps up. There you go. Now, as far as nudity is concerned, I actually haven't watched the movie in 2 days, so I think we get brief. So there's not that much TNA in here, which is a slight negative. But one of the things that really strikes me about this movie is, I think, basically, outside of the killer plot, the slasher plot of the movie, it's a love triangle movie. So you got a guy named TJ who decided to move back to town, and the guy Axel, and you got the woman who's caught in between these 2 men, which this is most of the time how it actually is in real life. And the aggression between these 2 men over this girl is very realistic because I've experienced it myself in real life, as has other men, young men, who are probably watching this video. And also, too, these are not kids. These are 30-somethings. They might be in the movie. I'd say youngest these cats are. I'd probably say youngest would be 29 at the youngest. Maybe I'd probably even maybe say 31. But these are adults. This is not Friday the 13th where they're 20-year-olds, 21-year-olds. These are adults in this film. So that kind of, and also they work in mines, and that gives it a little bit of a creepier angle. The killer has this, this mask, this breather mask, and it kind of got the Michael Myers thing with the Darth Vader. So he's kind of like pretty much one part Michael Myers and the other part Darth Vader, which I think this movie was 2 years before Jedi came out, which is kind of a little bit funny. But the love triangle is played pretty realistically, and I actually think, and again, for this type of film, I actually think the 3 actors do really good in portraying the love triangle between the. I think it's really well done. Again, for this type of movie, that was actually surprising in rewatching it again. And look, the movie was made in 1981, so there is that level of cheese that's also there too. Times when you can tell the killer, the actor is waiting for their beat before the killer. You can tell the actor's like he's waiting to be killed. But it was so low budget they just didn't have time to do multiple takes. I guess that's where directors like David Fincher gets to doing 55, 100 takes and all that stuff, because you really want to nail it so it doesn't look like the actor is waiting on a beat to be killed or whatever. But there's a lot of that in there. Oh, and I'm gonna get to the unrated and the R-rated version. But one of the kills that I absolutely love in this movie is there's one where this drunk guy, who was actually the guy who was in Pee-wee's Big Adventure in the bar, who was talking about Large Marge, and he was the dude from Beetlejuice, who was at the little place where Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis went, where all the dead people were in the waiting room. It's that actor. But I love how he's trying to set up this hate, because Harry Warden is the killer in this movie. And I love how he's trying to set up this fake Harry Warden down. This dude is drunk because he wants to get the kids back, 30-something adults. And he keeps opening the door as the doll is going like this. And he's like, ah! He's like laughing like Richard Dreyfuss and What About Bob? And look, he opens the door like 3 times to make this fake doll with the pickaxe do this, right? My man walks away for the 4th time. He gets halfway around and he gets this hysterical look on his face, and he goes, and he has to go back and open the door again. Of course, this time when he opens the door, it's actually the killer. And of course, I just love when he goes back and opens the door, the killer goes like, and then pickaxe him. And it's so funny. The killer is dragging him by the stomach with the pickaxe across the ground. It's absolutely hilarious. It's so funny. And that's the beauty of these kind of movies. You know what I mean? Like, if you were to watch this with somebody who's, like, not a fan of the USA Up All Night kind of this kind of thing, they'd really think that you think this is a good movie. But the whole thing is that you know it's bad. And the fun is in its badness. Like, stuff like that scene. It's hysterical. It's absolutely great. Of course, another legendary one is I can't remember whether this guy is the mayor of the town and he's with this fake Dr. Loomis cop guy. And anyway, Harry Warden kills people on Valentine's Day because he got buried alive in a mine and he was like gnawing on arms and stuff. And I'm not kidding, this is in the movie. He became a cannibal, lost his mind, went into a mental institution. He busted back out, killed a bunch of people. And, that sets up Harry Warden, the killer, or whatever. But the funny thing is, he sends hearts on Valentine's Day, right? Actual hearts that he rips from his victims, right? And there's a part where the mayor and the cop guy are in the car, and the guy opens up the Valentine's candy box, and he goes, "Oh, it's happening again. Oh, it's happening again." I mean, his enthusiasm is like so just like, I mean, if there was a serial killer who had like killed all these people years before and his calling card was an actual beating heart in a box and you opened it up, I would think either one, you'd pass out, maybe you'd scream. I'd probably say either pass out or scream, or probably just sit there and stare in complete and utter shock because of what you're seeing. Which, I work in healthcare, and some of the things I've seen some shocking things like that, and most of the time, at least from my experience, you're in absolute total shock, and you don't respond, or you're freaking out internally. That's my digressing of real experience. But that was just funny. And another great one was, and I think some other movie reviewers pointed this out, how, the cop and the mayor guy are like, "Oh, we think Harry Warden is back, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that." And then the doctor is like, "Oh, Harry Warden, the one who committed those terrible murders." I mean, you just think about that, like, terrible murders. Like, I mean, as if murder would not be a terrible thing. Like, it's murder, but hey, it's murder. But these murders are really terrible. Like, it's ridiculous. And the way the actor plays it, he plays it as if he's reading a cue card. Those terrible murders. Oh my God, we must get this maniac now. It's that type of acting. Just silly stuff. Now, the original version I had saw on Cinemax back in 1993, 1994 was the cut version. So, like, the girl getting it on the shower head and the guy's head being dunked in the boiling hot water, the guy getting the nail gun to the head and all that, the woman being killed in the dryer, all that stuff was cut out. From what I remember was the girl getting it on the shower head, Harry Warden grabs her, picks her up, and then the boyfriend guy just comes back in and you just kind of see this close-up of, like, water shooting out of her mouth, but it doesn't even show it. This DVD has both versions. Obviously, I watched the uncut version. And the thing that's funny about it is when you see the uncut graphic violence, it's so tame. But I will say, I think that showerhead one and the dunking the face into the boiling hot water, those are actually pretty effective. I think the showerhead one is actually pretty creepy because it has this really wide angle of, like, I mean, it just shows, like, her head go through the thing and she's dangling from this. It just looks, it looks really unsettling and creepy seeing her dangle like that. That one is pretty freaky, the showerhead one. But those are the two ones that I really think are unsettling, the boiling and the showerhead one. The rest of them, pretty typical stuff. The nail gun one is kind of, There's like a scene where they're climbing out the mine and like a body drops and the head gets decapitated. But we all know how fake heads looked in these movies. I mean, around this time, about the only effective decapitation you'd ever see on film was in The Exterminator with Robert Ginty. And oh, Lord. The decapitation in that movie is just, oh, God. Oh, I had to digress and talk about that movie. I'm going to eventually review, but, oh, man, that's a rough scene in that movie. But it's a fun flick, and then when you get the reveal, spoiler, it's one of the boyfriends, just like in the remake version. Turns out to be Axel, and the reason Axel is on a rampage is because Harry Warden killed his dad. So I guess he's angry because they're celebrating Valentine's Day. So he decides to take on the persona of Harry, the killer. Makes total sense, right? And I love the way it's revealed. I mean, there's just like this cheesy fight scene between the miner and TJ, and then the girlfriend just rips the mask off, and he just goes like, Axel. And he has like this retarded, like baby confused look on his face where he looks like he's like sucking on something, but there's nothing in his mouth, and he kind of just was like, and he just goes, Axel. Why? And it does this quick flashback of Harry Warden killing his dad, and the kid's like up under the bed like, ha, hey. And then next thing you know, he stabs the dad, then there's blood on the kid's face, and the kid is just like, and then they go right back to the scene. And it's like, what? Like, really? But I just love the fact that they're totally just unpretentious about it. They're like, hey, look, it's a stupid reason. This is why he's killed all these people. You roll with it or you don't. And that's the beauty of these early 80s holiday-themed slasher movies. They're absolutely ridiculous. Like Randy said, stupid BS reason to go on a killing spree and become a mindless serial killer. And then to top it off, Axel doesn't even die. He loses an arm and he runs off and goes, me and Harry are going to kill everybody or something like that, he says. And the movie just abruptly ends. I mean, the killer doesn't get killed. They never came back for a sequel, so I'm assuming this movie bombed at the box office. But My Bloody Valentine, 1981, it is a cheesy, ridiculous, fun, goofy early 80s slasher movie with surprisingly decent acting from the three leads. I really liked it. I was just surprised. That part of the story was really engaging. Digressing to the remake really quick. I did like the remake when it came out. I did see the 3D version. I've only seen it twice. I think in retrospect, it's a pretty good retelling of it. I mean, there was really no reason for My Bloody Valentine to be remade. That's how I know they were reaching, because a movie like I guarantee you, half the people who saw the remake when it came out did not even know that it was a remake. So, but I think in retrospect, and I think it was kind of a cool idea, because if I believe right, I think Axel is the killer again in that version too. Or I think they switched the leads. Like, I think the dark-haired guy in the remake was Axel, and I think TJ was the guy from Supernatural. He ended up, it was kind of the same idea of this movie, where like the real Harry Warden killed a bunch of people, and some person was traumatized and took on the persona of it. So it was okay. It was all right. They kind of did the hide and seek psycho Fight Club kind of switch on it, but whatever. I didn't particularly like it, but I've seen it one other time since then. It's okay. It's all right. Okay, time waster. I like this version better, obviously, because it was made in the 80s, so it just automatically gets the go. So that is my review of My Bloody Valentine from 1981. Thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video. Don't forget to hit the little ring-a-ling-a-ding-ding-ding, and leave comments down below about My Bloody Valentine 1981. RMJ Movie Reviews. I'm going to be back with another movie review soon.